Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast, where we live with intention. This podcast is designed to fuel your fire, empower your journey, and celebrate the fierce determination of multi-passionate leaders making their mark on the world. I'm Becky Plautz, a seasoned empowerment photographer and your host today. And I'm joined by a beautiful co-host today, Veronika. And I'm going to give Veronika an opportunity to share a little bit about who she is and where she is located. So, Veronika, welcome. What can we celebrate with you today? And tell us a little bit about who you are.
Thank you, Becky, for having me today. So I am a soul reader from Czech Republic, and for those who don't know what that is, I didn't know it either a few years ago, so that wouldn't be a surprise. I read souls, which means that I can see past lives and family lines and soul purpose, and I help my clients to get connected to that, what I call the soul or the higher self, and I help them see the gifts they bring to this earth. So this is my passion and my business. Now I used to be in IT, I used to be a musician. Now I am a light language activator and business owner, and it's growing, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I love that. I love that word activation. That really like just brings in such an energy pull to say, ooh, like who doesn't want to be more activated and active in living life and being more of who we are? And that's just kind of what I picture when you describe um that a little bit. So can you share about a pivotal moment or experience that really ignited you on that path of being a soul reader?
hmm Well, I used to be a singer, a songwriter, and I was having tours in my country. And it got to the point when I was quite successful. I reached all the dreams I wanted, my dream festival, and I was talking to my dream rock star colleagues, and we were planning some duets for the future. But I suddenly hit the point when I didn't feel inspired anymore,
Hmm.
and it was even before the lockdown. And then lockdown came, and there were no shows, no festival, and no festivals, and no possibility to go on rehearsals with my band. So I kind of lost my purpose, and I was asking for guidance. I was asking my higher self and the universe, okay, so what is my purpose here? I was working from home with my little dog, and we couldn't go far away from our place of residence. So
Yeah.
I found myself crying in a dog park regularly.
Oh,
uh, yeah, I think it was desperate times, and
yeah.
and then one day, I already tried to start something like meditation business. I was recording meditations in my free time
Mm.
because I was missing recording, and I was already doing a lot of spiritual modalities as a hobby. But then it was the time when I was like, okay, what is my actual life purpose here? Why nothing ever makes sense anymore? And it was the time when I felt the answer, Veronika, you should connect people with their soul. And I didn't know what exactly it meant. How should I do it? Who can I talk to about it? Because I didn't know anything about Akashic records or anything about spiritual connection. Um, I just kept trying, and since that moment, it started evolving. I first gave a lot of sessions for free because I was developing this gift. At first, I didn't hear or see anything, but over time, with practice and listening to intuition and doing a lot of inner work, I I managed to make it my full-time job, and then make it business, actually something which could bring me some income to be able to afford to leave the IT world completely, and start my own journey.
Yeah. I, I love that. So you were singing and songwriting before, and then you said that you did some meditation. So just is it in a meditation that came to you, like help connect people to their soul? Like, is that where that came from? Is in a meditation?
Yeah, it was during the meditation, but the meditation was connected to prayer. which is something you can find in Hinduism too. I found
Mhm.
out later this connection between getting into meditative state, but at the same time getting devotional and asking for guidance. This energy of love you feel in your heart. Um, and which we all usually call God, if we have loving relationship with this energy. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I was asking actually divine energy, okay, what is my purpose here? And I think the desperate situation helped me open my heart to the point where my ego just gave up and was like, okay, I don't have control over it anymore. I'm willing to listen.
Mm.
um, the answer came in a pure, it was pure answer. It didn't feel like ambition or striving for something greater to make me feel amazing. It was more like, well, you are asking for your purpose, so here it is, do whatever you want with it. So yeah, and what how I learned to be a soul reader. I had many sessions for free. Luckily, I had many patient friends who were sitting for me and who were willing to try. And I, when I was sitting with them, I would picture them surrounded with light, and I was asking God, okay, so I'm here with my friend. What do you want me to do? And for many sessions, I didn't really hear or see anything. So it developed over time with open heart and striving for that and keeping it. And yeah.
I think that's, I mean, that is how we get to wherever we are in our journey, right? Because we're practicing it. We're getting up and we're asking the question. I love the simplicity that I always hear in the conversations of the podcast and the conversations, you know, in everyday life that I'm having is the simplicity of knowing that we ask and then we listen, right? I think that it's either one or the other that kind of gets a little forgotten or, you know, very unclear sometimes. That have you asked for support? Have you asked for what you need? And then are you actually listening to the answer? Is kind of like what I was hearing as you were sharing that. Do you feel like
Yes.
that's kind of something that you've come to in your readings, that, you know, either people aren't asking or they're not really listening and being open to it?
Mm, yeah, I think people who are coming to my sessions are already willing to listen. Not all of them, but majority of them.
Yeah.
Uh, and they get to the point where again they are looking for something to fulfill their heart. It's not usually just about business or relationship. They try to understand where they are coming from, how they feel about the situation, so they are already willing to listen. But sometimes during the session they find out why they are in the situation for such a long time, because they weren't
Mhm.
willing to listen for a long time. And it's not about listening to God or divine energy. It's usually your own wisdom, your own inner wise voice, which is leading you out of some situation or suggesting some inspirative actions, inspirational actions, sorry.
Mhm.
And so they are actually coming from for confirmation that their inner wisdom is something they can listen to, and that they already feel the answers in their guts for a
Mm.
long time. They are just coming and they're like, yeah, I thought that, I was thinking about that, but I wasn't sure. So now I'm happy that I can really really hear that from you. But I knew it in my heart before.
Yeah, I love that because we do hear it in our heart, and then when we can actually hear it from our ear, like from our ears, and hear other people kind of, like you said, give that confirmation, it really lets our heart settle in to know, oh yeah, I had that intuition, I had that nudge, and all right, I can trust that more and more when we have guides and people to support us in that growth. I think that's beautiful. So with your personal journey, um, how has your journey contributed to your growth and your own transformation?
Mm. So my parents divorced when I was 3, and I didn't feel like it was a big deal until I was 14, and I was struggling with depression and anxiety.
Mm.
And I had to start with inner healing back then. And I think I started very early. Now it's normal that kids and teenagers get into self-development and they go to therapists, but I was born in 1990 and it wasn't that normal back then. So I started when I was 15, really tapping into various healing modalities. I really started going to deep therapy when I was 21, I think. And I think around 25, I felt healed from
Mm.
depression, which was really a miracle for me. I had to go through a lot of layers from my childhood, and forgiving, and especially forgiving myself, because I didn't really love myself back then. But I think I had to use this inner awareness many times in my life. And this is actually helping me now in doing soul reading, because I can feel the answers through my body, and through my experience with stuff I've been through. So so I think this was my main contribution to my journey. um, and people really like, they're when they're stopping themselves from something, it really comes with different reasons. Sometimes it's because of their childhood, sometimes it's because lack of self-worth or self-confidence, sometimes they are afraid of stepping into greater possibility, and sometimes it's just like, I don't care anymore. So to being able to see through all those layers where people are stopping themselves from being greater and being more loving towards themselves, I think this is the greatest gift I can give during the session. So yes.
Well, what I love about that too is that you started with yourself. You know, that's the greatest thing that I also recognize in having conversations, is like really people are enlightened on their own path and knowing that it really began with you and healing yourself. And then, that turn of, I want to do this and support more people and know that, it really is a contribution to the world that you touch when you're able to bring your gifts, your healed gifts to the table and support more people in such a beautiful way. That's transformative power that you've, from a challenge that you had on your own path. I love that. You said something about feeling it in your body, and it reminded me, I went on your Instagram earlier and I saw that you had shared on your story, there was a woman dancing on the beach,
Yeah.
and it says, and she has headphones on, and there's a bird on the top of her headphones, and the caption of it said, 100 things to do, also me. And then she's dancing and vibing on the beach, you know, knowing that, I don't know, for me, I would just wanted you to share a little bit about that. I was like, I need to bring this up because I really felt like it was about being in flow with your life and still feeling really in alignment, even when we do have those moments of overwhelm that we're like, oh, we have so many things to do, right? 100 things to do. And we can still, be in a vibe that we want to really orchestrate and move forward with. Can you share a little bit more about that for you?
Yeah, and I thank you for mentioning that, because I really loved this dancing lady. And I think it's true for many of us business owners who or solo entrepreneurs who are trying to shuffle everything all together. And especially for women, our brain works in a way where we get to this certain stress level, everything seems important. All those
Mm.
100 things we need to do, everything gets to the same level of importance. Um, Men usually, when they get to this stress level, they narrow their focus to just one thing and they just zoom out from everything else. Women, on the other hand, get to this higher level and they feel like, oh my God, everything needs to happen now at once, which is kind of hard when when you want to run your own business and you suddenly feel stressed with everything, like your kids and your business and taxes and I don't know, everything. So when we are employed, the our big greatest problem is usually our boss or our colleagues. We can bitch about them and we can be like, oh my god, I'm looking forward to having my own business. But when you are self-employed, all those negative voices just come back to your head, and suddenly you find out that you are the only cause and only solution to everything in your business, which can create incredible amount of pressure you put on yourself, especially when you are starting and you don't know how to work with yourself and stuff. So before you learn, um, at least me, I went through many months when I was pressuring myself into great performance and trying to do a lot of work and a lot of social media work and a lot of everything. And then I was like, ugh. I just got burned out. And I think it's awesome when you are able to listen to your own body and when you are able to recognize what your body is telling you and when you are able to stop and just receive or relax and being able to give yourself this time. And some of us are able to run really long time before they get to this point of exhaustion, and some of us are just, they need more slower pace and more relaxing, and then they can give I mean great performance once in a longer time. So yes, I think it's individual for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm actually gonna go grab and find that reel, and I'm gonna tag it in this episode in the show notes for the our listeners to get a visual of this vibe because it was super fun. I'm like, I'm gonna bring this up because I feel like your work, the way that I've heard you describe it, and I've looked on your YouTube and listened to some of your light language and music, it's so beautiful. I'll definitely be highlighting that in the show notes as well. Is all about, you know, us as a whole person. So you had mentioned, you know, work and life, and really what I always picture is feeling into life, and really because we bring our whole selves to each one of those areas of life. And when we work on healing the specific spots in our journey, then right, we're showing up more whole to the next experience and opportunity that we have with other people and
Mhm.
ourselves. So yeah, I love that. So okay, I wanted to ask you about light language. So how do you integrate light language into your spiritual practice or healing work?
Well, yes, I will get to it in a second. I just wanted to mention and appreciate you as a mom of multiple kids and also creative business owner and also the provider of this platform for other entrepreneurs when they can have their talk about what they are celebrating and so on. I think it's so amazing that you managed to shuffle it all together and it still feels like you are giving your 100% to, like, every time I see you, you feel so committed and so full of energy, and I must admire it because I don't really feel that during my work days at all, this 100% energy all the time. So that's something remarkable.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. There's some things for me to unpack in that, but it is really great to have people um pinpoint that and to know that that is true. I am very committed, and when I show up, I always want to give 100%, and even if I can't, like that's my 100% today. Right? And that
Mm,
looks different for everyone. And I always like to remind people that my 100% is different than your 100%, because you are looking through a different perspective as well as having a totally different experience than anyone else that you're paying attention to. And I also wanted to just point out that I always remind people that when we see those glimmers of really, you know, powerful acknowledgement of what someone else is doing, that it's a reflection that is inside of us and that we do also um, hold and harness in ourselves. otherwise you wouldn't be able to see that in me. So thank you so much for that, and know that it is part of who you are as well.
Mm, yeah. So thank you for being inspiration here for with that.
Of course.
And yeah, light language. It's 2 years ago I didn't know what it was, or maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was really strange term for me. I was like, it sounds like something somebody made up to make a lot of money because I was already used to many healing modalities, and some of them were amazing, and some of them were, just I felt like this is not really working, and it costs a lot of money. So I thought that light language is one of them. Then one of my friends used it on me, and she was giving me, I think it was Reiki healing. She was sending
Mm,
me Reiki energy, and she just used a few words with light language, and it felt like really distant calling from home. And for those who don't know what light language is, it's a pure frequency of love, which your soul knows, your higher self can speak it. Our brain is a little bit confused with it because it's not really words. It's not like translating English to a specific language. It's more like describing light with sounds or movements or light codes, which you write on paper. So this light is purest energy of love, and people can have different dialects. You can find light language speakers who speak in um, I don't know, Lemurian light language or Pleiadian or or elemental. Sometimes it sounds like something from Avatar. Sometimes it sounds angelic. And I really love singing in light language because it brings me home, and it brings people who like this kind of energy. It also brings them home. So what it does when you use it with any other energetic work, it kind of expands your influence. It expands
mhm,
the impact you are creating with your energy. So no matter what you are doing, if you are a business owner or the healer or artist, especially artists can tap into this energy very easily because they are already kind of connected to creative energy of universe, and they have this wider space for allowance. When you are artist, you just sometimes you cannot give a shit about your own head saying something like this sounds so weird, or you are creating something weird. You just have to let it go and let it flow. And light language is just like that. You tap into energy. Okay, I'm connected with the god or with the universe, and I want to heal something or somebody or myself, and you just let it flow through you, and it's beautiful, and it usually brings you to the path where your gifts just blossom. No matter if you are again artist or entrepreneur, when you use your own light language and light codes, it can really expand what you do into greater space.
mm. Okay, so a question about light code, because you mentioned that that's writing it down. Did you need to learn light code in order to learn light language?
Uh, no, and I think this is one of amazing things about light language because each of us is different and we have different gifts. And some of us are more visual, some of us are more audio, and I'm definitely audio person. I'm very sensitive to audio because I used to be, or I still am a composer. So it was really easy for me to start downloading light language as because when I was already doing soul reading, I was tuning into this higher vibration energy. I was tuning into love of the soul. So downloading sounds of light was quite easy for me. And for some people who are visual, for example, my friend is painter, and she was
Mm,
afraid that she will never be able to find the light codes, but I helped her get activated, and she found it really easy to connect light to her paintings. And it
mm,
works a little bit like you have this loving intention of healing somebody or help somebody expand their business, and you have this intention, and then you ask for guidance, for example, or you ask your higher self to create, and then the light codes just start drawing themselves. I know it sounds a
That's
little
so
bit
cool.
weird,
It's so cool. There's one of your YouTube videos. It was like 17 minutes, and it was just it was like very colorful, and it kind of reminded me of like bubbles, like the iridescent colors flowing as you were moving your hands in the video. And that's just kind of what I picture with it. Just these beautiful colors and sounds and um yeah, it's very
yeah. And those, again, this is one of, there are three main ways of light language. One is spoken, one is drawn or
mm.
written, and one is signs, like signs you do with your movements you do with your body.
Mm.
For example, for dancers or for people who are good with energy, they are able to sense energy with their body. They light language first opens for them in with movement. So they usually don't start with words or sounds. They start with moving their hands, and it feels like, oh my god, my hands are doing something. It feels beautiful, but I don't know what it really is.
Yeah.
My light language mentor, Jamie Price, who lives in Mount Shasta, she started with movement. Her light language started with movement, and words and codes came later, as she mentions it in one of her videos. And she was a massage therapist,
Mm.
so the light language came to her as a way to enhance her massages.
Yeah.
Her therapies. And she, for some, I think it was like 20, 30 years ago, so she was afraid to talk about light language, and she didn't know what it really was. But then light codes came in, and sounds came in, and now she's having those light language courses. And I was there, and I was really happy that I did that. So so this is one of the ways you can wake light language in your practice.
Yeah, I love that. So thinking about like how light language contributes to the collective, right? And how that expansion happens for humanity's spiritual awareness. What are your thoughts around that? Like that collective consciousness, that growth in having light language or, connecting people to their souls even more.
Yeah, and I don't know if this can sound a little bit maybe too out of this world. I don't know about your audience. Maybe some of you guys are already like, oh my god. But for me, I will talk from my experience.
Yeah.
Uh, so when you activate light language, or even before, um, light language really helps you to connect to the spiritual realm of this earth. So you can feel more connected to trees, to water, to minerals, and you can receive messages from them. It feels like when you go to the forest, it already feels like trees are, hugging you with their energy, or you can feel the relaxation, and you can feel the quiet and the peace. But when you tap into light language, they already start talking to you, and sometimes it can be like, maybe I'm really becoming crazy, but it's usually very loving experience. What it does is that you just start feeling connected to everything. It grows and continues. Eventually you start connected to the whole universe, and you feel as a part of this universe. You feel as one, not every day, not all day, but it really helps you to get into this state of meditation and a connection we are all striving for 10 minutes a day when we are busy. so so that's that. So you can receive messages. Sometimes people who are doing light language and they are helping water to clear, or they talk to trees, they call themselves grid workers,
Mm.
because they believe that the earth is actually a golden light grid, and when you use light language, you are strengthening this grid, and you are helping the earth to get into the state of higher consciousness and more love and more light. And I mean,
I love it. It's so beautiful. I am everyone, I am unfamiliar to the point of light language, and I'm so curious to keep learning about it. And I'm really appreciative of you being open to sharing like what that is, even not knowing like how others are going to view it, because to me that's painting a really beautiful picture. So for anyone that's listening that is like, okay, where would someone start if they want to get into the feeling of any sort of connection that's on the path of understanding this side of modalities and spiritual growth? What would you say to the person that's like, where would I even start?
hmm. So I would ask you, what do you love already? Where do you feel most creative? Because, for example, light language actually opened my love to crystals. I was
Mm,
never about crystals before. I was like, why is everybody so amazed with crystals? But when I started speaking light language, I really felt the connection with minerals, with crystals, and
mm.
um, there's another funny story around it. But where would you start? So the question is, what do you love already? Where do you feel most creative? If you are if you love painting, then I would start painting your dream life. If you are into music, I would start with listening to meditation music and just relaxing into this energy fully. If you love sex, then one of the best ways to to
I
go to
love it.
God is sacred sexuality, of course. But there are also other cons with sacred sexuality. It's not always easy to get into right course because there is a lot of buzz around it, and some people are also abusing the word sacred sexuality and tantra. So you have to be really aware. I
Mm.
wouldn't start there, but if you love sex, it's a good way to get into mode of relaxation and receiving and kind of connection with the whole universe, because this is what sexual energy does. So
I love it.
um
I love it. Permission granted, y'all. Permission granted. More sex. Releases all the good endorphins, all the beautiful energy. I love it. Um, it's something I wanted to actually comment on too about the light language, and you had mentioned, our soul knows it, and we don't really even need to know what it means or like the words. It's not like a translation of words, like that kind of thing. And what I love about when you said that was that I am a personal growth junkie. Like I love learning about myself and understanding more of my wholeness so that I can bring that out and into the world more and support others and just knowing they can do it too. And I say that because I listen to what people say and I listen to their words, and I'm all about being able to see you. That's why we're doing a video podcast first and foremost, is because I love to be able to see expression. It's one thing for me to hear it, but I am visual. I'm a photographer. Like I love the visual of getting to recognize the body language, the facial expressions, and how important that is to me. And what I love about the light language idea is that I don't have to listen to the words to hear if it's positive or negative, because the stuff that's on the radio is all negative and blah anyways, and the vibration is all wrong for me. So hearing, just tasting what light language sounds like just felt so calming and beautiful from listening to you on your YouTube. So I would love to wrap this up by saying like thank you so much for being open to this conversation and sharing this with the audience. And also I would love to give you an opportunity to share anything that you would like to wrap up with and where they can connect with you specifically further.
yeah, thank you very much. So I would like to on my YouTube channel, which is called Veronika SoulReader, I have few meditations in English. There, I have an English playlist. You will find it. I think it's a Soul Connection with Veronika or called something like this. And
Okay.
I also have there a light language music. So if you are interested in light language, some of you will love my approach. Some of you will love light language from somebody else. This is completely natural. But if you feel drawn to it, light language music is one of the best ways to get connected to your soul and to the place you can feel at home in your own heart. And yeah, soon I will release my new song, which will be about Lemuria, which is one of the ancient civilizations. And it's a very song with very beautiful energy, and it will be there. So I am really looking forward to it.
I love that. And I also love to like wrap up with thinking about the future. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, I don't really look that far in," but whatever your answer is awesome. So, I love to dream big and look to the future and think about, 5 years from now, what do you envision with your work?
Hmm.
I think you gave us a
So
tiny taste just now.
yes, I mean my greatest dream, my fun dream is to be a light language rock star touring the world and and have my light language band and just ask everybody to bring Crystal to the show and dancing with their with oh exactly.
My favorite.
So
Concerts around the world. That's what I'm hearing.
yeah, around the world on beautiful places, somewhere connected with water and trees and there are so many beautiful places on the earth when people gather and they have this loving intention, it can be
Mm.
amazing co-creation with the earth and with the universe. So that would be my greatest dream. And also like teaching light language and co-creation with other light language speakers, and that would be just awesome. I think that hopefully 5 years from now, future looks bright.
That's right. Yeah, start building that community of people on the soul level that on the same vibration or are ready to get to the same vibration as you. That's such a beautiful vision of where those concerts are going to be and holding space for that with you. Um, be sure that you guys go follow the YouTube channel or Instagram for Veronika. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast to ignite your passion every week, overcome those apprehensions that you might have on your soul's path and journey, because we're choosing on purpose. Okay. So create a life that resonates with your heart's desires, and do it with more intention and purpose. So, Veronika, thank you so much for taking time to share with us today. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much as well. It was beautiful.
Have a great day.